So, Mark, did you see that video of the Strat? There is a crack in the glass, and I can't imagine there's anything that you would want to see less.
You wanted to trigger me, didn't you, to start this? Is this what you're trying to do? You wanted me to have a TikTok rant?
I'm just, you got to jump off the side of that place one of these days. So, figure why not make it scarier?
I see this video and I was like, okay, it's probably fake or it's like old and they just put in a sound effect. First comment, that's been there for 8 years. So there you go.
So it's all safe, everybody. It's all safe. So what hasn't been there for 8 years is F1 Grand Prix Plaza. And it just launched, a couple months ago. Prices are pretty high depending on what you want to do. I don't know if that's related to this or not, but they are offering free access to the F1 simulators through the entire month of July. And I guess this is designed to bring people in to give them a test of what it is. The entire experience isn't free, but if you want to go drive on the simulators, go for it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of cool of them to do. And I feel like this whole show is going to be, this is free, this is free, this is free. It just goes to show that Vegas is not selling things the way they normally would. And they're really pushing to get people in there just to try it, kind of spread some word of mouth. And I think these look pretty cool, unique, and something that I would definitely want to check out. And the fact that you can test them for free is amazing. Hopefully the lines aren't too long when you go, but we'll have to see what people think.
Yeah, it's exciting, I guess, for people who want to try it out. And another new attraction that opened, I don't know, in the last year or so, Playground at Luxor. Kind of an adult playground, and that's sort of their theme. I don't know how well they're doing. We haven't heard a lot about them sort of in the rumblings and a lot of people posting from there, but they are offering free access July 4th, 5th, and 6th. July 4th, you would think would be a busy weekend. I talked on the last show how I saw kind of soft room rates at some places. Some places were pretty busy room rate wise, but it just something, I don't know. I don't know that I want to go when it's free. Maybe a little too rowdy for me.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Like you, I haven't heard anything. I looked at the Google reviews and they're pretty high. I think they're like 4.6. So people seem to be enjoying it, but there's just like no buzz about it. I guess they didn't pay the right influencers to go in there and video it and, all that stuff. But it looks like a unique thing, kind of like a selfie museum. Like there's all this crazy stuff that you take a picture of yourself in front of and just kind of things to have a little bit of fun. A very cool looking bar there. So if I was in the area, I would go check it out just to go grab a drink, see what it's all about, and see if I'm wanting to come back in the future, all that stuff. So I think it will work out well.
So this next story is about Mizumi at Wynn, and it comes from Facebook from a friend of yours. And this is interesting. My question to you, I'll throw it up on screen, basically saying that you can order anything that you could possibly eat in Wynn or Encore at this restaurant. My question to you would be, wouldn't any good restaurant do this for you? Like if you were special enough, or is it, I don't know, maybe I guess not. That would be insulting to the chef. So you can order a pizza in Mizumi, anything else. At least that's what Joe claims. I'd love to hear what other people have to say is their experience in reality.
Super high-end restaurants is one thing. I think that they would do something unique. I don't know. Have you ever watched the show The Bear based on like a fancy restaurant? Yeah, the one, where they heard him talking about the Chicago style deep dish. They didn't get a chance where they were in town visiting and they overheard this. So the chef, they went out and got a pizza from like Pequod's, brought it back, and then he turned it into like a fancy dish and all of that for them. So I think when you're in like super high-end restaurants, that's something they would consider. But I don't know, maybe they don't want other people to get money, taken away from their tables or their service. I guess it depends who owns what restaurant, but they're willing to overlook it here, which I think is really cool and top-end service and something you only find at the Wynn. I mean, some places won't even give you a smoothie, Sean.
What would John Curtis say if he saw you ordering weenie tots at Mizumi? That's the big question.
I don't know. We need to go test it all out. I want to see how far we can push this thing. This is kind of crazy.
So the big thing happened this last week. The Crazy Girls, they made their return to Las Vegas. They paraded through the city before arriving at Circa, where they had a big ribbon cutting ceremony, and they are downstairs at the entrance to Legacy Club like we had previously talked about. They started at the Riviera, then Planet Hollywood, and then they've been gone for several years. So the show is not back, but the girls are back, and you can once again rub the statue for good luck.
Do you think Derek will bring back the show at some point?
I don't know. I mean, why not? But he doesn't have a showroom at Circa, so it would have to go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's the downside there. So we'll have to see. I just like that he collects all these cool things and puts them in there for free. Because if this was at Fontainebleau, it'd probably be like $10 to go see it.
Yeah, thank God he doesn't charge admission for mannequin piss. I think he does a great job with the free attractions. Obviously, Vegas Vicky in there. So a lot of good stuff. And one of the cool pieces of Vegas history now saved for you to enjoy. So another update on something we've talked about before, Battista's Hole in the Wall did that sudden closure for renovation of the building, which is very old and needed a new roof. Well, the owner says that July 10th is the new reopening date. It was supposed to open end of June. And then as soon as they reopen Battista's, they're going to close Stage Door. Stage Door has the same owners, same building, basically. So Stage Door, your cheap beers, Raiders Hole in the Wall is going to close for, well, how are they going to freshen that place up?
But I mean, hopefully they paint it so it doesn't smell so bad anymore. But I would love it if they could put in new air circulators and just repaint it and tear out whatever it smells. I would love to go hang out in there. It's so bad. And that's from a house. I grew up in a house of smokers. So I'm used to smoke smell and I still can't take that place. So I'd love to be able to go hang out there, have a beer, a hot dog, all that stuff, and have it not be so terrible. So hopefully they do something along those lines. And they still have that on the sign, like our lease is here. We have it for 30 years. I haven't paid attention in a long time, but I just remember always seeing that on stage where like, we have a 30-year lease. We're not going anywhere.
I don't know. I think the same guy owns the buildings too now, so maybe that changed and he bought the businesses there. The big question is, will the Stage Door still be the Stage Door if they clean it up like that? Then it just sort of loses everything that makes it the unique value proposition that it is.
Maybe it's just enticing people to come there and make it smelly again, be a part of that history.
God, that's...
I put that cigarette burn in the wall right there. That was me.
Add your stank.
The new... The new Stage Door. Add your stank.
As a reminder, we have our Patreon. $5 a month gets you access to our weekly after show. Tons of laughs behind the channel. Things we can't talk about here on YouTube. Patreon.com/MTM Vegas for all the information. And thanks to everybody who supports us over there. So let's talk about some history of Las Vegas in plain sight. Shout out to Salvo Fett, who tagged us in this video. This is the area out in front of Luxor that used to have the fountains and stuff. It's now a parking lot, and it's kind of in front of the tram station out in front and where the Sphinx is. And you can still see some of that original painting that was there an opening day at Luxor. That type of artwork was everywhere around the casino. You can still see it in pockets here and there, but most of it's gone now. And always cool when we see something right out in front of us that we never pay attention to.
Yeah, I appreciate them filming it and then tagging us on it. Great to see a part of history like that. And then wasn't it like a piece of wallpaper was peeling off in there and you could see the old wallpaper and everything. So we're getting little bits and pieces of what it used to be like.
That's right. That was last year or something. Somebody saw the old original wallpaper. I'll see if I can dig up that. But yeah, they can try to, MGM can try to cover it up, but the pyramid fights back and some of the theming persists.
I just wish somebody would lean into it finally. It'd be like, all right, everybody's been complaining about it enough. This property, we're going to theme the crap out of it. It'd be amazing.
I want somebody to build the Laughing Jackalope casino. This sign, I don't know if a lot of people know it. I know it from walking by it, but I don't have this attachment to the history of it. The bar/hotel closed in 2009. I think the motel closed before that, but the bar closed in 2009. Motel was torn down. It's basically been sitting there, but obviously vandals and stuff have taken root there, but the sign has finally been torn down. It is a really cool looking sign. You would love to see it get preserved. We don't know if it went to the Neon Museum or if it just got destroyed. It's now gone. So for people who like to walk by abandoned properties and enjoy them, this sign is probably something that stuck out to you, and it's gone now.
Yeah, Derek, come on, step up. Let's bring it in.
Yeah, I just love the way the Jackalope looks. It looks unique, kind of that old Vegas, sitting in front of a motel. Imagine driving into Las Vegas. So many motels on that strip of land. I remember the glass bottom pool where it had the windows in it was right in that area as well. Even into the 2000s, a lot of those motels stuck around, and then a lot of it's just all gone now. But yeah, I miss those days of those kind of unique, quirky one-off signs. Sure, we get these big spectacles now, but we don't get those anymore.
Yeah, and now it's all screens and everything. It just doesn't feel the same as what people used to come up with. And I remember driving by this property. I just don't remember that sign. I don't know why. Like, I remember the building, the side of the building. For some reason, the sign just doesn't resonate with me.
Well, what about this? Resorts World in the news again. And it's kind of hard to hear the audio on this, but it seems like somebody's playing $25,000 hands, and then they tried to order a smoothie or an orange juice or something, and get told that they have to pay for it. And then they're like, dude, I'm playing $25,000 hands. This should be comped. But we don't get to see the whole thing. But if that's the case, what are you doing?
Even if it's like $100 hands, it's a smoothie costs you $10 at the smoothie place. Probably costs you a couple bucks to make. Like, just figure it out. We just talked about Wynn and how they're willing to get a pizza from some other place if you have a kid there, and they won't give a smoothie to a person playing 50K a round. Pure insanity.
Yeah, it's kind of short-sighted too. I talked about how I like Perrier or sparkling water, and I don't like to go to casinos that won't give that for free. There's many casinos that just give you that for free, and then there's some that will look at you like, we were at Rio the other day, and my wife forgot. I already remember that they don't do this there. I appreciated the cocktail server because instead of lying about it, she just looked at my wife and told her that she would get club soda from a gun. And it's like, all right, well, at least you admitted it out loud. But those little things, and yeah, obviously Perrier is not that. It just, when you're $25,000 hands, it's just a matter of sometimes people just want to enforce the rules and they don't look at the bigger picture.
They want big players there. That's what they were trying to shoot for early on. Like, they wanted to be a place, a destination for big time players. And if you don't roll out the red carpet for them, why would any more come in there? That's going to get out there, and the next person's going to be like, well, I'm not going to go there. This is just cheap. Somebody else said in that thread that they wouldn't even give them room. So I don't know. Maybe there's some animosity there, or maybe they're being jerks about other stuff. I don't know the full story, but it just doesn't make sense why any business would act this way.
Yeah, as with anything, I'm sure there's another side to the story with all of this. But yeah, I just thought it was an interesting discussion. Resorts World also in the news in New York City. I'll talk about that in a minute. I did stay at Resorts World New York City a couple of weeks ago. And it is, I think, the only casino in New York City currently. It opened in 2011 at the Aqueduct Racetrack. And they are planning to expand this, and they have a big project like we've seen Wynn and MGM and Caesars all have their own projects. Resorts World has one as well. But I wanted to start with this, Mark. I stayed. It's a Hyatt there instead of a Hilton like in Las Vegas. Very generic, though, the hotel. So it all fits within the brand, I suppose.
Yeah, I think this is the one thing that will actually get done because they already have a property there. If they have the space and everything, and it's been there for a while, it's not like this is year 2 or 3.
They just submitted this proposal for the $5.5 billion project there that'll have over 500,000 square feet of gaming space, which is an insane size of a casino. So I wonder if that, I don't know what they're counting in that, but I don't know, like the large casino would be 150,000 square feet. So 500,000 square feet, 7,000 square feet entertainment venue, over 7,000 parking, 300 food and beverage outlets. Like, what the hell are they building here? Yeah. So I have a video of the model that they actually have in the lobby there. I didn't know that they were going to get their final proposal this week, but you can see that they have the current Hyatt Regency and small building. They sort of build completely around it. Now, I didn't get to walk through the casino because they have this weird thing where they close from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. I was trying to go in there at 6 a.m. because I was overnighting in JFK. So I got to kind of see into the casino, but I couldn't take video of it because there's security guards at the entrance. There's a big sort of atrium at the entryway with the sugar factory. Sugar Factory just seems like it's everywhere wherever there's casinos these days, but it's convenient for JFK, and I think location-wise would make a great casino for a large-scale operation. And they're also planning on building Crockfords at this location, a luxury Crockfords hotel in addition to what they already have.
Oh, that's interesting that they're going to bring in the partner from Vegas, and even though they have Hyatt there too, they'll work in a Hilton property as well. And I think this has got the best shot of all of them. And I just don't know, like Resorts World. Well, we know Genting has a ton of money, so I don't think they're going to plan on Vegas bringing any money over for it.
What's interesting is the tax revenues. Now, I've heard anecdotally with sports betting and other stuff that New York has really high taxes. In fact, I think that's why Wynn ultimately decided to pull out of their Hudson Yards project, just looking at the economics not working. One interesting thing that was said about it is that it's now generating more casino revenues and taxes each year than any other commercial casino in the U.S. Now, casino revenue, I don't know, are they bringing in more tax revenue? That's a weird statement coming from them, but clearly successful. More casinos to come in New York for sure.
Yeah, sounds like they just more government hand in the pockets there than other places.
I was there on a Friday night, tons of people. It was packed. Everybody having their great nights out, all dressed up and nice, and I just got off in a 12-hour airplane ride, so wasn't feeling quite the same vibe, but it looked like a cool property. I'd love to go back, and it's interesting to see what they want to build. Let me know in the comments if you guys have ever been there. But Mark, we have to talk about the numbers. They finally came in for May of 2025. We got the airport numbers, the gaming numbers, and the overall numbers, and none of it's good except for, let's start with this. Convention attendance was up 10.7% year over year.
Yeah, and we've seen that a lot. I think it was last month it was way up, and that was kind of propping everything else up a bit. So it's good to see that conventions are back in a big way, and that's the case everywhere, not just Vegas. But we were coming off like terrible numbers, and then they were getting better. And now do you think we're getting back to like where they were before COVID?
I think we're clearly still well above those numbers, but it'll be interesting to see this summer. Clearly, all the discounting started kind of May time, so maybe the alarm started going off in these casinos with their bookings and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, will the summer be as bad as maybe they predicted? Will all of these deals drive people in to help rebound the numbers? But let's look at them. Visitor volume down 6.5%. Hotel occupancy down 3.1%, so less people in there. Average daily rate down 2.2%. I will point out that the average daily rate is significantly higher than it was years ago. And the revenue per available room down 5.7%. And then if you look at gaming revenue, overall down 2.5% in Clark County. The Strip was down 3.9%, downtown down 11.4%. And year to date, and I think that's important to look at, overall Clark County down 0.5%, the Strip and downtown down 1.1% through 5 months of this year. Is that the worst thing in the world? No, but it doesn't look, I mean, it's not pointing to great things ahead.
Yeah, I think this is the first month that we saw everything down, like RevPAR, all that stuff down, visitors down. Like usually it was a mixed bag and it wasn't this heavy. It seems like those numbers are just going to get worse. Down 1% will probably be by the end of the summer. I would guess closer to like 4%, something along those lines, 5% for the year. So hopefully they can turn this around. Or I'm loving all these free things, free attractions, free deals, cheap food. All the stuff that we've been begging for is finally here. So I don't know. Is it selfish to hope that it doesn't fully rebound?
There's a couple economic arguments. You have the new contracts for the union, stuff like that. It's more expensive to run these businesses. Rents are higher. Heck, most of the casinos don't even own their land anymore. They're paying rent. So it's the economics of doing business here have gotten to be more expensive. And so when you have a contraction of this nature, it probably does hurt things. It's certainly nice to see the deals. If we look at like RevPAR, downtown really struggled in this month. The average daily rate was down 12.4%, and the RevPAR 13.9% in downtown. The Strip, a more modest decline. So clearly downtown not drawing people as much. That could hurt in these sort of secondary markets. And then the one thing that we should look at is international arrivals, 8.7% decline from 332,000 in May of 2024 to 303,000 in May of 2025. So what is that, about 29,000 people? It's not a huge number because international is not a huge part of the overall demographics, but it's certainly being felt.
Those numbers are always weird because it's, if they connect somewhere in the US, it might read as domestic. I don't know how they exactly track that, but we're not even going to talk about the one glaring positive thing from this, Sean.
I thought we talked about the convention business. What else is positive?
Laughlin, baby.
Yeah. I was saving that for last. Laughlin, we talked about the visitor survey recently, and we've talked about Laughlin a decent amount on this show. Mark really loves it. It's a great kind of alternative throwback in time. It's kitschy in certain places. You have the river there. Well, Laughlin is drawing from a lot of ex-Vegas people that used to come all the time. We saw that in the visitor survey, and they were up 11.2% in May. And then if you look year to date, they're up 8.2% in visitor volume. Occupancy is not up a ton, which is very interesting. Occupancy for the year down 0.7%, up 0.4% in May. So they're drawing more people. It seems like a lot of Las Vegas locals. I mean, a lot of the people are going there.
Yeah, and I do wonder, like, are some people staying across the river? Maybe rates are a little bit cheaper over there if they do go visit. It is interesting to see that, but I'm loving that, more people are giving it a try, or at least we know that they're coming back to it. And maybe they had taken off for a couple years and we're like, you know what? I'm tired of the crap in Vegas where they're charging me all this stuff, and let's go to Laughlin and have that weekend experience. And kind of like you said, it feels very 15, 20 years ago Vegas when you're there.
Let's talk the numbers. So you saw the numbers. There's just really no way other than celebrating Laughlin and convention attendance. And convention attendance has made a huge rebound. Like Mark said, we've seen that through the year. So that's actually helping. Without that, it would be even worse. People aren't just showing up in droves. It's funny because every time we see something bad, Jeremy Aguero makes his way out. I saw an article. He's from Applied Analytics. He's the guy who does all the economic impact stuff for the LVCVA. He was, admitting that these numbers aren't bad, but says that the future is bright. So there you go. And he does point out, as we have, that in 2019, these numbers were far less than they are today. So even as we decline, maybe this is the end of a significant growth period, but it's hard to argue that Las Vegas grew tremendously in the last 5 years.
Like you said, everything costs more. The labor costs more, fixing up properties costs more, construction costs more, food costs more, everything costs more. So they're up, but are they keeping up with the increase of that, the pace of that? Do they need to stay growing to be able to afford what they agreed to along those terms? And then every other thing that has baked in inflation, that I don't know. I'm not Jeremy.
Yeah, he'll let us know exactly what's going on. But I'd love to hear everybody. It's been the discussion on social media. Everybody's been talking about this everywhere, obviously for months now, as we see the deals come, as some people cheer on the death of Las Vegas, as other people hope for the value-oriented Las Vegas that used to be to return. It seems like everybody wants to discuss this, and we've just said we want to look at the numbers, and we're continuing to see, I think we had about a 5% decline in April visitor numbers, and here we are at 6.5%. It's clear that things are contracting, and just how long this goes, how far it goes, a lot of it has to do with the wider economy. Maybe international visitors will come back. We don't know. But yeah, the summer continued to look bad, I guess, and just take advantage of all the deals.
Yeah, get your free F1 on.
Free F1, the playground, all those deals downtown. Now we know why they have all those great deals downtown, with the all-inclusives and everything else, with their low occupancy rates and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll put links to all the different numbers so you guys can dive into them, see what you want. There's really no angle where it looks good. So I will say that at the end of the day, the powers that be will tell you it's better than it was a couple of years ago. And that is true. And I guess it just depends on, are you coming back? Let us know. Are you surprised by these numbers? Are you planning to come back? Are you going to take advantage of the deals? Are you done with Vegas? Is the new Vegas the best thing ever? It's amazing the wide spectrum of opinions people have that watch this show, and I love all of it.
I thought we were closing, but that was like, we just kept going.
Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Have a good week, everybody.